Okay. Hi guys. We'll be just starting in 3 minutes at 8:05. So yeah, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll start. All right, we'll just start then. So I'll just
Just
I hope my presentation is clearly visible. Should be, I mean, is it?
Yes.
It is. Great, great. Um, all right. So okay, oh God, you can see this one. Wait, just a second. Right. You can see this one. Okay, that's great. Fine. So yeah, we'll just come to the rules then. I mean, there's just two, three rules. First, put your answers in the chat box. I wish we could have like you could raise your hands and speak, but I'm the only one, and it will get difficult to manage the slide and come back. So yeah, we'll just you can just put your answers in the chat box and yeah, just keep a tally of your scores. And put it actually just send them to me. Do not put it in everyone. All right, send your answers to me. Then of course don't search it up. Doesn't make any sense. If you don't know it, you don't know it, right? What's the point of searching it and putting it in the chat box? And of course, what's the price? I'll say good job, because that's all the budget I have. But anyway, so yeah, make sure to keep a tally of your scores. I mean, if you say you've got 20 on 20, then I'll believe you have 20 on 20, right? But just be honest to yourself. And yeah, at the end, everyone can just put their tallies in this box. So yeah, anyway, we'll start. And yeah, well, here's the first question. So The Supreme Court recently, it was in the news because it did not allow a woman to access abortion when the fetus was 26 weeks old. You guys must have read about this in the newspaper in recent days. So the act in India which governs abortions, which is the MTP Act, it was recently amended in 2021. It brought in a ton of new changes. But what I want to know is how this act came about. So if any of you have looked into its history, there was this committee which was set up in 1964. It was led by this politician X. You have to name this guy. And they were meant to draft the law for India. They gave their recommendations in 1970, and finally the bill was introduced and it was passed. So yeah, what was the name of this committee? And yeah, just as a hint, this college which you can see here, it's named after the guy who headed the committee. No, Mrs. Jaya Bachchan committee is wrong. Okay. All right. Any other tries? Um, all right. I have a couple of right answers. But yeah, I'll just give another hint for those who haven't got it. So there was a commission in 1977 which had the same name. I mean, it was commission and this is committee, but the first word is same in both of them. So 1977, very important commission in our nation's history. All right, all right. Yeah, good number of people have given the answer. So the correct answer is Shah Committee, headed by Shantilal Shah. He was a politician from Gujarat. And the commission which I was talking about in the hint before, that was known as the Shah Commission. Can anyone tell me why the Shah Commission was set up? Like, what was the purpose behind setting it up? The mandate of this commission? All right, one correct answer so far. Okay, one person only. So yeah, anyway, the purpose of setting up the Shah Commission was to look into the emergency. It was set up by the Janta government, which won the 1977 general elections. And its purpose was to, investigate the emergency and on the abuses and the excesses that took place during it. So we'll move to the second question now. Yeah, question two on your screens right now. The electoral bond scheme, once again, you must have read about it. It has been referred to the constitution bench of the Supreme Court recently. So it has been in place since 2018. And yeah, there are plenty of criticisms about it and whatnot. But one of the main criticisms is that, there is no disclosure under this. It is a very opaque scheme. No one knows where the money is coming from and where it is going. And yeah, apparently 95% of the bonds have been sold for only one party. So yeah, that's saying something. But anyway, what I want to know is which are the two cities where the first city is the one where most of these bonds have been sold, and two, which is the city where most of these bonds have been redeemed. So X is the city where most of these bonds have been sold, and Y is the one where most have been redeemed. So yeah, in the chat box, X and Y. Okay, okay, okay. People are really smart. Okay, so anyway, I'll give a hint for those who haven't gotten it yet. These two cities, they are two capitals of the country. There are two types of capitals. I think this might make it too easy, but still, two types of capitals. All right, a good number have gotten it correct. The correct answer is Mumbai and Delhi. So the greatest number have been purchased in Mumbai and the greatest number have been sold in Delhi. And if I remember correctly, like about 25 or 26% have been purchased in Mumbai and over 65% have been redeemed in Delhi. All right. That's interesting. So okay, that was question number two. Let's move on ahead. Yeah. So if any of you recognize this guy on the right here, this is the very famous quote he has. There is freedom of speech, but I cannot guarantee freedom after speech. One of the quotes of all time. But anyway, yeah. So in 1976, there was a flight going from Tel Aviv to Paris. It was hijacked by some Palestinian militant groups. It was forced to land in the country X, which you guys have to name. Anyway, this guy, the dictator of this country, he supported these hijackers. They were having 106 hostages, mostly Israeli citizens. And the Israeli special forces, they rescued these people. So you have to tell me, one, which country did they land in, of which this guy was the dictator, and B, what was the name of this operation by the Israeli special forces? Okay, cool. All right, couple of right answers. Okay, a lot of people seem to have it right. Um, I don't really have any hints for this one since they would basically just give it away. So yeah, I'll just go to the answers then. The correct answer is X is Uganda and Y is Operation Entebbe or Thunderbolt. It is also named Operation Entebbe because that is the airport where the flight actually was. And yeah, can someone tell me this dictator's name? So he had a very amazing title. Like his official title was His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al Haji Dr. VC, DSO, MC, Lord of all the beasts of the earth and the fishes of the sea, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general, and Uganda in particular. All right. Couple of right answers. Couple of right. Yeah, not that's not his address, unfortunately. That's his entire official title. And he was strict about people having him addressed with the official title. Yeah, sure, I can send this PPT on the group. But yeah, first name the guy. A very, very famous dictator. He is also popularly called the Butcher of Uganda because he was incredibly brutal. Yup, Idi Amin. So yeah, this guy, famous quote. His name is Idi Amin. So yep, this guy is a cannibal. Yeah, I mean, I have heard all kinds of rumors about him, and in general, was just a very dangerous guy. Anyway, question number four on your screens. So, X, a militant organization, it carried out a terrorist attack during the 1972 Summer Olympics, which were held in Y against the Israeli Olympic team. It was a great tragedy. Many people were killed. And yeah, Israel launched certain operations and assassinated a ton of people around the world. Some say they weren't involved. Some Israel says they are. Who knows? But anyway, this guy you can see on the right here. If you've seen the movie, which you shouldn't, since I don't think any of you are over the age of 18, you must have seen him, revisiting this massacre in a video game. So anyway, if you can tell me what was the name. No, I'm not asking the name of the movie. I'm asking one, what was the place, and what is X, which militant organization it was. It's great to know that you guys know which movie this is from. But okay, no, it was not. Oh God, ISIS did not exist at that time. Okay, so yeah, most of the people know what the place is, but I only have one person who knows the what the name of that terrorist organization was. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so if I were to give a hint for this one, if any of you is like a super, super Marvel fan, right? So there's this thing called Ultra Comics or something, if I'm not wrong. there's this something called Ultraverse, and Marvel had a collaboration with it, and Marvel had a collaboration with them, and Marvel and this Ultraverse Comics, they together launched a series, which has the name X. So yeah, two people with the right answers so far. So if anyone is a super Marvel fan, then they might know what X is. All right. Seen this guy, but don't remember. Okay. Anyway, X is Black September. It is a Palestinian terrorist organization. I don't know if it is still active. You can look it up. And yeah, Y is Munich. Most of the people got Munich, but the name of the terrorist organization which carried out the attack is Black September. All right. Question 5 on your screen. So yeah, the surrogacy law, I mean the amendment rather, which banned commercial surrogacy and said only altruistic surrogacy is allowed. It has been under a lot of criticism from various kinds of groups. But majorly, it was a good source of income for people from impoverished backgrounds, right? So they have criticized it that you're taking away our income. So anyway, there was this one place which was basically said to be India's surrogacy capital. It was a large industry there. Many people used to come, many foreigners, many Indians. And yeah, as you can see some very big names have gone for surrogacies in India. So anyway, this place, it also first it is India or maybe even the world surrogacy capital, but it is also India's milk capital since the whole Amul movement was situated here, and Amul's main office is still here today. And even further, there's this very famous 1971 movie with Amitabh Bachchan and Rajesh Khanna. It also has the same name. So yeah, name this place, which has these three different distinctions. Yeah, it's in Gujarat, but where in Gujarat? Okay, okay. Large number of people have gotten it. Hmm, right, right. Okay, fair, fair. Okay, so seems like this was an easy one. A lot of you have got it. The answer is X Anand in Gujarat. All right, great. I'll just head to the next question now. Um, yep. This next one should also be easy, I think. Okay. So Bihar, it recently released the data from its caste census. It was highly disputed. Several Supreme Court cases and not several Supreme Court cases, but yeah, many cases and whatnot. It was a huge political issue. But anyway, finally it got released in October. And yeah, this one's pretty simple. So first, under whom when was India's first census held? And under whom you can see this guy, this grumpy looking guy. He's the one who held India's first census. And the second question is, when was caste data last collected in India before this Bihar census? Is in October. And all right, put your answers in the chat box, please. All right, okay, multiple answers. Hmm. Okay, a lot of wrong answers as well. I expected this to be an easy one, but anyway. Uh, yep. Ooh, yeah. Hmm. All right. I'll just head to the answers then. Yeah. So the first census was in 1872, not 1881. 1881 was the first complete census, right? The first census was held in 1872, and after that it became a decennial thing. It was under Lord Mayo and yeah, W.C. Plowden, and it was last collected in 2011 in the SECC, the Socio-Economic Caste Census, but the data was not wholly released. Like only bits and pieces of it have been released because the government feels that it could be used for politics. But anyway, All right, on to question number 7. So yeah, recently, all of you must know how the violence in Manipur started, right? So the High Court, it asked the government to give ST status to the Metis community, and yeah, a lot of stuff happened. So the guy who was the acting Chief Justice of the Manipur High Court, who gave this judgment, he was transferred to the Calcutta High Court, and from the Delhi High Court, Justice Siddharth Midul, he was appointed as the Chief Justice of the Manipur High Court in his place. So here, while the center was very happy complying with whatever recommendations uh, the collegium gave it, normally that is not the what happens. And one very famous example of this is this guy, whom you can see here. Uh, he is an openly gay person. The collegium has recommended that he should be appointed as the judge of the Delhi High Court. The center refused once. The court has recommended his name again. And as you might know, the center is now bound to accept it, but they are sitting on the recommendation. So name this person right here. Okay, most people know. But okay, I'll just give another hint. In the Navtej Singh Johar judgment, right? That was the last major judgment on LGBTQ rights in India. This person was the was the advocate for Navtej Singh Johar. So this person is responsible for the decriminalization of homosexuality. And yeah, most people have got it. This is Saurabh Kirpal. Okay, easy one. Question 8 on your screens. So yeah, recent Supreme Court verdict, very disappointing. But Ben said let's just leave it with the legislature. But yeah, it was a very surprisingly conservative judgment because if you think of it, so over time the courts had been getting more and more liberal in their view of homosexuality. But here they just delivered a kind of shocker of a judgment. But anyway, which was the first country to legalize same-sex marriage and in which year? All right, all right. Fine. Okay. Most people know it, but I'll just give a hint. The hint is a kind of a question in itself. It's an interesting hint. I wonder how many of you know this one. But anyway, uh, yeah. So there is something in economics called the X disease. Of course, X stands for something. But basically, the what the X disease says is if, if there is great economic development in a specific sector, then there is a decline in the other sectors, and this is normally associated with these natural resources such as oil, natural gas, and that stuff. So, does any if you know what disease is, then you can probably guess what the country is as well. So, all right. The hint is more difficult to decipher than the actual question. Yeah, that was why I said it's a whole question in itself. All right, all right. Hmm. All right. So yeah, most people have gotten it right, although not everyone could get the second question. The answer is it is the Netherlands in 2001, and the disease is the Dutch disease. So there's something. It's a very interesting history. All of you should look it up if you have the time. Why it is called the Dutch disease, how it came about. But anyway, this is something you normally see in countries which are very heavily dependent on one natural resource. Let's say Venezuela. Venezuela is a perfect example of Dutch disease. So they focus too much only on oil, and that led to the neglect and downfall of other sectors of their economy. And today they're in a very poor economic state. So, yeah. Anyway, that is Dutch disease. Saudi, yeah, you can say, but Saudi has diversified a lot. Anyway, not a discussion for today. But anyway, really interesting. All of you should look into it and why it actually happens. A really, really interesting thing. All right. And yeah, have any Asian countries actually recognized same-sex marriage? If anyone could tell. All right. Yep. The answer is Taiwan. But has Nepal legalized it as well? This is the first time I'm hearing of it. All right then. I was kept. Nepal center has court has recommended, but the center has not just looked. Okay, so it hasn't been legalized yet, right? So yeah, Nepal asked the legislature to look into it. Same thing as India. So no, not legalized in Nepal yet. So yeah, currently the only Asian country which has recognized same-sex marriage is Nepal. Sorry, is Taiwan. And even all over the world, just I think 30 to 40, so some number between that have legal. Oh God, 34. Wow, 35. Okay, yes, some number close to that have recognized it. All right, great. Question number 9 on your screens. If any of you have political science in class 12th, then you should get this one. CBSE. All right. So, what many people do not know is Manipur was the first part of India which held elections on universal adult suffrage. It held these elections in 1948 because, as you might know, the British had given the so Manipur was a what do you call it princely state, and the British had given the option to all these princely states that you can either join India or you can join Pakistan or become independent. So Manipur, it became a constitutional monarchy, and this legislative assembly was the one which was going to decide whether it was going to remain independent or whatnot. Uh, but anyway, so the legislative assembly was not clearly decided, but it was leaning towards independence. So the Indian leaders, they kind of pressurize this Maharaj. You can see right here. This is a cartoon about the whole thing. And they forced him to sign the instrument of accession. So yeah, it was a huge controversial thing. It is in Manipur, it is still considered to be a black day in Manipur's history. Anyway, you have to name who this Maharaj is, whom you can see sitting. Okay, okay, no one else. Uh, yeah, but the answer is Maharaj Bodh Chandra Singh. That was the name of the last king of Manipur and the first constitutional monarch of Manipur as well. And in general, this is something that could be asked because, yeah, this is something not a lot of people actually know that Manipur held elections way back in 1948 before the rest of the country, which had its first elections in 1951. All right, question 10 on your screens. So, yeah, Gaganyaan is in the news a lot, and of course, Chandrayaan was in the news quite a lot lately. Uh, but Gaganyaan, it is specifically for the human spaceflight program. But anyway, there is only one guy who has been to space so far, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma. He went as a part of a Soviet, friendship program. It was called the Intercosmos program on 3 April 1984. And of course, he had the famous line, "Sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara." But anyway, so what happened was, before you go to space, obviously you train, right? So two pilots actually went to the Soviet Union for training. One was Rakesh Sharma, who was eventually selected. But there was this guy as well, who was on standby, who would replace Sharma if there were any complications or anything. But yeah, he was never chosen, and Rakesh Sharma went to space. So you can see why he looks so sad because I would be as well. But yeah, what's this guy's name? Okay, one correct answer so far. Two correct answers. Oh, this was in the first episode of Facto as well. Oops. Okay, I don't remember this. Uh, okay, then the rest of you should then a lot of people should know this. Oh god. Okay, but that was a long time ago, the first ipso facto. Okay. But yeah, can anyone name this person? Just two correct answers so far. Ooh. All right. Hints. I mean, how do I give a hint about someone's name? Wait, let me think of some. I mean, okay. So I mean, someone pointed it out. The name is actually written right there. I didn't notice it before, but yeah, you can read his name. It's written in English and in Russian. But yeah, the correct answer is yeah, R. Malhotra. Yep, Ravish Malhotra. That's the correct answer. So yeah, I mean, I think everyone would look this pissed if they were always remembered as the backup. But anyway, so I have a question. Who was the first person of Indian origin to go to space? Does not have to be a citizen, but yeah, like just the first person who had Indian blood to go to space. Okay, Kalpana Chawla. Okay, it's not Serena Williams, it's Sunita Williams. All right, one correct answer so far. Okay, apparently very few people know this. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of tricky. Okay, Kalpana Chawla. All right, two correct answers. Nope, not Sunita Williams. Uh, 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 anyway, the correct answer is Yuri. No, the correct answer is Rakesh Sharma. Rakesh Sharma is the first person of Indian origin who went to space, and luckily he was a citizen as well. All right, so we're halfway through the quiz. It has like a total of 20 questions. So, as you guys might have deduced so far, I have made a very curiosity based quiz. So, of course, you guys are a lot more kept up with current affairs than I am, because you guys have been studying it religiously for like the past 6 months at this point. I'm of course not as kept up with you guys, so I don't think there's any point to me. Yeah, sure, I will send the PPT. But yeah, there's no point with me trying to you know, test you on current affairs, because definitely you're better than me at that. So I just thought, I'll test how curious you are, because if you've seen the past 2 years CLAT papers, both 2022 and 2023, please send PPT in the chat. Sure, I will. But yeah, as you guys have seen, the past 2 years CLAT papers have been really about your curiosity. The questions they're asking, you won't find it in any one compendium. They want you to go and look. Okay, so X happened. What about Y? What about A? So they want you to look into hundreds of different angles. So that is why I've tried to make a lot more of a curiosity based quiz. Now some of you might say, but oh, this is all static GK. But I mean, all of you know current affairs. So I might as well try to quiz you on something that you don't know, so that you learn something new, right? And yeah, as I said, very curiosity based GK coming up in the past 2 years, and there's no reason that it will change this year. So I think this should be really helpful. Anyway, you guys can let me know how much it helped later. But we'll move to question number 11 now. It is on your screens now. So yeah, we hear news, oil prices up, oil prices down, but do you actually know that how many liters of oil does a barrel have? I mean, we always hear, this country produces this many billion barrels a day. This produces this. India imported this much, that much. How many does it actually have? Okay, three answers so far, and none of them are correct. Uh, no, no, close, but not right. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, this one. All right, one correct answer, two correct answers so far. Uh, Okay, so a lot more of you, uh, yeah, a lot more of you know the second one. But yeah, just two or three have answered the first one so far. All right, so I really cannot give any hints for this one since it's a number, and yeah, any hint will I'll have to. Okay, so if any one of you knows what a barrel, I mean, how many liters a gallon has, then you can multiply 42 by that. But I think I'll just spare you the effort of all that. The correct answer is 158.987 liters, or basically 159 liters. That is how much a barrel of oil has. Uh, yeah. And yeah, the first one was established in Digboi, Assam in 1901, and it is still functional till this very day, over 120 years now. So yeah, anyway, this is what I mean by curiosity, right? You should, when you are reading the newspaper, you say, okay, India has bought this many barrels of oil from Russia. You should automatically think, okay, how many barrels, how many liters of oil does a barrel actually have? In what currency is this transaction happening? From what route is being taken to go to transport these oil barrels to India. Just be very curious about whatever you're reading, because I think that is the kind of GK the consortium has been going towards for the past 2 years. And yeah, I think that's the kind of GK you'll be having this year. So, yep. Okay, it's from the Arabian Sea. I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me. All right, question number 12 on your screen. So, yeah, cricket, it has been added to the Olympics recently. Great thing for India. Another Olympic medal for sure now. But anyway, this is not the first time that it is actually happening at the Olympics. It has been held once before. But it was kind of boring because there were only two teams. So there was like total one match, France and Britain. And yeah, Britain beat France by like 158 runs and got the gold medal, and France got the silver, even though it lost. So yeah, anyway, when was it held and where was it held? So yeah. Mm, all right. A lot of people know that it was in 1900. That's right. The Olympics were in 1900, but where? Just a couple people have answered where they. All right. Yeah, that's right. It was the Paris Summer Olympics of 1900. So yeah, cricket was actually supposed to happen in the 1896 Olympics as well, which were the very first Olympics. So the very first Olympics ever were held in 1896. Cricket was supposed to happen, but it did not happen for some reasons. And in 1900, it did happen. Four countries were supposed to participate, but only two did. And yeah, I mean, even if you lose, you still get a silver medal. So I'd say that's a fair deal. All right. Question 13 on your screens. So, as you guys might have read, I think this happened just yesterday. So, Wahida Rahman, she was conferred with the Dada Saheb Phalke Award, one of the most, I think the most prestigious honor, Indian honor in the field of cinema. The first actress was Devika Rani. I have never seen any of her movies, but I've heard that she's called the first lady of Indian cinema. However, there are a few people who have had the honor of winning both the Dada Saheb Phalke Award and an Oscar. Just a few people, a very, very select group. So, yeah, name these people who have won both the Dada Saheb Phalke Award and the Oscar. And yeah, okay, so I think just to give an idea, uh, Oscar includes all kinds of Oscars. I think that's hint enough to guess at least one of the people. No, Arijit Singh has not won an Oscar yet, unfortunately. And neither does he have the Dada Saheb Phalke Award because that's only for like actors and directors and lyricists, not for singers. Okay, so everyone has knows at least Varun Dhawan. No, not Varun Dhawan. Not so far, at least. Not Deepika. Okay, oh God, don't just spam the actors at this point. Next, I'll be seeing Tiger. Oh, Modi ji. Oh, definitely. Modi hai to mumkin. Anyway, anyway, okay, so I think mostly everyone got Satyajit Ray, but the only a couple of so there are two people. One of them is Satyajit Ray, and the second person only a couple of people have gotten. Anyone, come on, who's the second person? No, not Bhanu Athaiya. Yup, the second person is Gulzar. So Satyajit Ray and Gulzar. These people, both of them have won both a Dada Saheb Phalke Award and an Oscar. Now, why I said, any kind of Oscar is because Satyajit Ray has an honorary Oscar and not like a proper Oscar for XYZ. So, yeah, Satyajit Ray and Gulzar, these two people have the honor of having both an Oscar and the Dada Saheb Phalke Award. Does anyone know what is the cash prize associated with the Dada Saheb Phalke Award? Is this question from KBC? No, I don't know. Like, I don't watch. I mean, I haven't watched KBC recently, so I have no idea. Yep. The correct answer is 10 lakhs. Anyway, that side type of stuff is not normally asked, but I just knew, so I thought I'll ask you. Uh, that's rude. All right, question 14 on your screens. So recently, I mean, not recently, some time ago, there was this whole political drama in Maharashtra and the MVA government fell. Uh, so yeah, there's this whole thing, about the defection law. But anyway, um, it was originally introduced by the, I believe, 52nd Amendment by the Rajiv Gandhi government in 1985. Originally, a defection was not a defection if, one third of the elected members are joining another party. But the X number of constitutional amendment, it changed this. It changed the number of people required from one third to two third. And also it introduced some other changes. For example, the number of ministers in the Council of Ministers was capped at, I believe, 15%. And yeah, also, if a person has been held to defected, then they cannot be appointed as a minister. So, what is this? Which constitutional amendment was this? And also the year, if you can give that. Mm, mm, mm. Also, yeah, I forgot to say this. I have this guy's photo here because he was the one who brought this amendment. Otherwise, you would why he was staring at. Anyway, yeah. So pretty straightforward. 91st Constitutional Amendment 2003. All right, simple question. Yeah, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Yeah. Okay, next question on your screens now. So where you can see this photo. Uh, anyway, so there were recently huge protests in Karnataka because the Supreme Court told Karnataka to continue releasing 5,000 cubic feet of water. I mean, 5,000 cusics of water from the Kaveri River. So there have been large protests and counter protests, but this is not a new thing. Water disputes are very common in India. The one I am interested in is in the north. It is a 214, or at least planned to be 214-kilometer long canal. It has been disputed since 1981. It has gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has given its orders, but it has still not been um, resolved. And yeah, the construction has started, but it has been halted. And in general, it's just a stalemate. So name the canal and the two states involved. Also, if any of you listen to Punjabi music, then Sidhu Moosewala had a song about this. So yeah, So yeah, one of the states you can definitely guess because of that. But yeah, uh, okay, plenty of people know. I thought this is not that common. Mm, that song is banned in India. Okay, I didn't know that. Uh, the song was banned from YouTube. All right. I mean, you guys were boasting about watching The Dictator just like 20 minutes ago, so I don't think you guys have the right to say that. But anyway, yeah. All right. A fair number of people know already. Yeah. The answer is Satluj Yamuna link, and the two states involved are Punjab and Haryana. Now, I have a question for you guys. So, there's a provision of our constitution which directly addresses these interstate water disputes. Now, I myself don't remember what the provision was, but okay, nice. I didn't even have to look it up. Okay, no, getting conflicting answers. So I'll just look it up. Yeah, but there is a provision of our constitution which directly gives power to the central government to set up tribunals to adjudicate interstate water disputes. So, if any of you could tell me what this article of our constitution is. Yep. Mhm. Uh, All right, a good number of people know. It is Article 262 of the Constitution. It says that the Parliament has the power to make tribunals to adjudicate these interstate water disputes. All right, and of course, India and Pakistan have a very famous water dispute about which they even have a nice treaty. So yeah, name this treaty and which was the organization which actually mediated this treaty between the two countries. Very easy question. All right. And when did this treaty come into force? Yeah. The answer is Indus Water Treaty. It was mediated by the World Bank. And yep, 1960. And who is India's current Indus Waters Commissioner? If I'm not wrong, the Indus Water Committee holds its meeting like twice every year. Yeah. Okay. Some people know, surprisingly. Uh, yep. So it holds its meetings twice every year. So, okay, then this is getting too in depth. But yeah, the correct answer is Mr. A.K. Pal. He's India's current High Commissioner for Indus Water. All right, great. So, another five questions left to go. So, let's just head on. Question 16 on your screen. So yeah, as I said, Chandrayaan also in the news recently, it landed on the south pole of the moon, the first in the history of the world to achieve this. So astronomy, it has always been a very big thing in India. So there have been four very famous astronomers in ancient India. You can read their names here. And one of these, okay, I've misspelled it, but yeah, Aryabhatta, even a very famous satellite launched in his name. So X is this text. It's part. Okay, I won't give that clue. But anyway, it is the oldest known Indian text on astronomy. And okay, so this is one very ancient form of Indian astronomy. And why set up in 1962 under the Department of Atomic Energy on the suggestion of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, a very important figure in India's space history. It was ISRO's predecessor and it established TERLs. Now, I want three things. One, what is X, this text which I'm talking about? What is Y, this ISRO's predecessor? And what is the full form of TERLs? TERLS. You guys must have heard a lot about it. Okay, one person surprisingly knows what X is. This is someone I did not think anyone. This is something I thought no one would know. But yeah, second most people know. Second one is pretty easy. It's Incospar. And yeah, this is Nehru at the launch of Incospar. So, yep. And TERLS. What is the full form of TERLS? Hmm. All right. Thumba Equatorial Region Launch Station. Sorry, Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station. Yep, that's the right answer. Okay, another space related question is, so when was the Aryabhatta uh, satellite launched, in which year? And there was a country which helped India with it, like India did not launch it on its own. Some country launched it for India. So which one was? Okay, France, USA. Yep, it was USSR. This one's pretty easy. All right. So yeah, that was question 16 about space. On to question number 17. So this very famous train, it was launched just yesterday, or not even yesterday, just in these days. RRTS, it is better known as RapidX. I meant to write better known as RapidX here, but anyway. So yeah, it has an average speed of 100 kilometers an hour. It's a sitting train. It runs on the Delhi Meerut corridor. But this is not the fastest train India has. So the Vande Bharat trains, which started in 2018, they have the top design speed of 180 kilometers per hour. However, due to track and route restrictions, they do not actually run at 180 kilometers. So there is this particular train, which you can see the photo here, which runs at the highest operational speed. So which train is it, and what is this highest operational speed? And yep, no, it's not Duranto, and neither is it Shatabdi. One correct answer so far. All right. It runs, if you want a hint, it runs from Hazrat Nizamuddin to Agra. You can see it right here. Uh, all right, all right. Plenty of answers. But yeah, I think 7 to 8 people have gotten it. This one, okay, I'll just give a hint. It sounds similar to a uh, cartoon hero who always wears red. And he has like a couple of friends who help him to fight crime. Yep. So it sounds similar to that person's name. Mighty Raju. No, it's not Mighty Raju. But anyway, all right. A good number of people have gotten it. So the hero is Shaktiman, of course, and the train is Gatiman Express, 160 kilometers per hour. All right. So, just as a curiosity question, from where to where did India's first train run, and when was it? Anyway, Bombay to Thane, 1853. Okay, yeah, easy one. Most of you have gotten it. All right. Oops. Question 17. Right. Question 18 on your screens now. So yeah, the Belt and Road Initiative recently it completed 10 years. So yeah, it has come under a lot of criticism lately. People say that the dams that have been built under it, they are crumbling, and there has been just huge, huge corruption in general. It has faced a lot of criticism. Uh, People say that China is trying to get developing countries under a debt trap. But anyway, it just completed 10 years recently, and this plan, it has been compared to X. I won't, you have to tell you what X is. It was this American initiative after World War II that basically tried to kickstart the economies of Western Europe after they was completely devastated by World War II. So the BRI is frequently compared to this particular X, which I'm talking about. And of course, India has problems with the BRI. But what it has alleged is China is trying to develop Y under the facade of BRI in an effort to encircle India. You can see in the map. So all these facilities that China has built under BRI, India says that this is China's attempt to encircle India. So first, you have to tell me what is X, this American initiative, and what is this thing that India says China is doing. So, yeah. Mm, 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 mhm, mm, mm. Yeah. So the first one is was this in CLAT 2022? I really don't know. I have no idea. Like I just could be. I didn't don't know. But anyway, yeah, a lot of people have gotten this one right, but yeah, a lot of wrong answers as well. The first is the American plan is the Marshall Plan of 1948. It transferred what today would amount to approximately like $200 billion to Western Europe to help kickstart their economies. Over 25% of this went to the UK. And why is string of pearls? India says that China is trying to encircle India using all these ports, and it is called string of pearls. But anyway, what is the main unstated objective of the Marshall Plan? Like on paper, the Marshall Plan was meant to help these devastated countries, I mean, rebuild themselves after CLAT. So, sorry, I just read someone's comment saying something about CLAT and I got. But anyway, yeah. So it was the main objective, like at least the on paper objective was to help these economies rebuild. But what was the unstated objective, like the very very main objective, and why did USA rush to stop? Okay, think in terms of another country. So there are two countries on the scene, and the USA rushed to provide aid. Now you can think pretty easily what the answer should be. Yep, to stop the spread of communism. So after World War II, the USSR had taken over like a large number of East European countries, and yeah, this USA was afraid that this communist influence could spread to uh, Western Europe as well. So that is why it immediately interfered and gave aid to stop the spread of communism. Right. Now the penultimate question, question number 19. So, as all of you might know, the bill was introduced not recently, a year ago, which sought to increase the age of marriage of women from 18 to 21 years. Um, so it has recently been given a fresh 3-month extension. Also, if someone could tell me what the name of the committee, I mean, so there was this committee which recommended that, okay, increase the age of marriage. So if someone actually knows what the name of that committee is, but anyway, that's not the main question. So this committee has been criticized because out of 31 members, only 3 are women. When in a issue about the women's marriage age, obviously the number should be a lot more. But anyway, there have been various laws throughout India's history to regulate the age of marriage. The first was this Child Marriage Restraint Act. It was popularly known as the X Act. Now, the X is this guy's surname. His first name is Harbilas, and his surname is what X stands for. And also, the Y goal number Y of the SDGs says that nation states should formulate policies to achieve gender equality. So, first, tell me what the name of this act was, what it was popularly known as, and of course, which goal was it of the SDGs, which asked nation states to make make these policies for gender equality. And of course, if you could tell me which committee it was on the basis of which uh, the act was introduced in the first place. All right, so everyone knows that it is the fifth Sustainable Development Goal. Okay, Sarla Act, Sarba Act, Sharda Act. Yep, it is the Sarda or the Sharda Act. You can use either. All right. So yeah, this guy was Harbila Sarda, and the goal is the fifth goal. But can any of you tell me what was the name of the committee which actually said that raise the age of marriage? Anyone? Okay, it's not relevant to this year's GK, but just in case anyone knows. Hmm, okay, it was the Jaya Jaitley committee. Not relevant at all for this year's GK, but this is just something I remember from last year. All right. So the penalty. This was the penultimate question, and now the last question for the day on your screens. Now, so climate change. Of course, you hear about it every day in, day out, day, night, midnight, all the time. But it was not always such a big thing. Once upon a time, people did not really know too much about global warming and resources and whatnot. However, everything changed in 1972, where when this book was published named X, it was a very innovative, a very landmark thing. So, it used computer simulations and it simulated how population and the economy might grow when resources are finite. So, if you can see this graph here, this is one of the very famous images that they released. Over time, resources will go down, population will increase, but then when resources will go down, so when resources will decrease so sharply, even population will reduce sharply. Food per capita will also reduce very sharply, leading to a fall in population. And yeah, industrial output in general, like a very, very, this is the report which actually made people aware that, okay, there, we cannot always keep growing. There is some point at which, you know, our over exploitation of nature will come and bite us. As if a hint, this was released by this group called the Club of Rome. It is still active. It is like a group of global intellectuals who research about whatever pressing issues affect the earth. So, yep, if just a couple right answers so far. Weather report, no, not weather report. All right. The answer is The Limits to Growth, a very influential report. It shaped the climate movement into what it is today. And yeah, just one last question. So there have been so many treaties, right, worldwide to address climate change. But which was the first of them, the very first treaty which explicitly addressed climate change? Okay. The first treaty to explicitly address climate change. Not the name of the summit, the treaty. Mm, mm, mhm. Mm, okay, surprisingly few answers. So no, not the Paris Agreement. But yeah, the right answer is the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNFCCC. So yeah, of 1992, that was the first treaty which explicitly addressed climate change. All right, so that was all. I'll put the PPT in the chat box again. if you guys, if someone could not download it the first time. So, so everyone, mm, all right. I have sent it in the chat box. If any of you could not download it the first time, you can do it now. Anyway, thank you all for joining. It was a great meeting. All of you are surprisingly smart. I was not expecting it to go that. I was not expecting you, all of you, to answer that quickly. But anyway, nice meeting all of you, and yeah, best of luck. All of you can download the PPT and then start leaving. Ipso Facto 1, I do not have Ipso Facto 1. Actually, I was looking for it, and if I had found it, then I would not have repeated that question. But anyway, uh, will you take one more session? You can ask on the group and accordingly. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you. All of you have a nice day as well. And yeah, definitely looking forward to meet all of you in July next year.